Squinting through bright days? That's a no. Struggling with glare? Also, no. What about sunglasses over regular glasses? Big no. But prescription sunglasses from Pearl Vision? That's a huge yes. They're a must-have for enjoying the sun in style. Choose from designer frames like Ralph Lauren, Coach, Michael Kors, and more. Arrange an eye exam at pearlvision.ca and get 40% off lenses. Some restrictions and exclusions may apply. See participating stores for details.
This Pride season, celebrate with the station that's as bold, vibrant, and diverse as you are. iHeart Pride Canada. From dance anthems to pop icons.
Let's celebrate diversity and love.
And hits from 2S LGBTQ plus Canadian artists.
Be yourself and stand proud.
It's your soundtrack for Pride and beyond. Just ask your smart speaker to play iHeart Pride Canada. Stream us on your phone or listen now at iHeartRadio.ca. Happy Pride from iHeart Pride Canada.
This Week in Gaming with Naomi Kyle.
Well, hello again. Welcome back to This Week in Gaming. I'm Naomi Kyle. This week we're catching up on the Donkey Kong Bananza Direct, Bungie delays Marathon, Xbox teams up with AMD, and Lies of P devs finally get the recognition they deserve. We've got all of this week's gaming news, so let's get started. Another PlayStation shooter is in hot water after game developer Bungie announced that they have decided to delay the release of their next game, Marathon. The delay comes after Bungie received less than favorable feedback from players during alpha testing. Bungie has said in a statement that we're using this time to empower the team to create the intense, high-stakes experience that a title like Marathon is built around. Over the next few months, we'll continue closed testing to deploy gameplay updates and test new features as they come online. You'll hear from us again later this fall when we can check the progress we've made alongside the game's new release date. Bungie's statement makes it very clear that they need to get this game right. Marathon has been a huge investment for Sony, reportedly costing them around $400 million to develop. We'll have more on this story with our guest this week, so stick around. Lies of P is a beloved title by fans of the Souls-like genre, as it has been deemed by hardcore gamers to be the closest in spirit to From Software's brutal Dark Souls series, which was shadow dropped on June 6th during Summer Game Fest. The success of the DLC has been so great that it has sparked renewed interest in Lies of P, pushing the game to new heights, marking 3 million units sold. As a result, the game's publisher, NeoWiz, is celebrating the developers at round 8 for their efforts, awarding each member of staff 2 weeks paid vacation, 10 million won, that's about $10,000 Canadian, and a Nintendo Switch 2. Talk about employee appreciation. We love to see it. Microsoft has announced a partnership between Xbox and AMD. AMD, who is known throughout the tech industry for its Ryzen line of PC processors, has been tapped to co-engineer hardware for all Xbox devices over the course of the next few years. The trajectory of this partnership falls in line with a report made early this year that Xbox is gearing up to launch its next-gen console sometime in 2027. And since the average console generation lasts about 7 years, I'd say that this report is making a pretty safe bet. Xbox President Sarah Bond said in a video confirming their partnership with AMD that this is all about building a gaming platform that's always with you, so you can play the games you want across devices anywhere you want, delivering you an experience not locked to a single store or tied to one device. This quote from Ms. Bond confirms that future Xbox consoles will include handheld devices and support third-party storefronts like GOG, Steam, and the Epic Game Store. How exciting! The release of Donkey Kong Bananza is just weeks away, and in preparation, Nintendo announced a Direct with the sole purpose of highlighting Donkey Kong Bananza's most impressive features. Nintendo revealed at the beginning of the Direct that Donkey Kong's quirky new ally, Oddrock, is actually a young version of Pauline, the damsel in distress from the very first Donkey Kong game that appeared in arcades way back in 1981. Now as Donkey Kong's sidekick, Pauline uses her ability to sing, awakening animalistic qualities within Donkey Kong, transforming him into wild beasts like zebras, ostriches, and a Super Saiyan version of Donkey Kong aptly named Kong Bananza. What I find most interesting from this Direct, though, is the extent to which you can use Nintendo's new Game Share functionality. I was aware from previous Nintendo Directs that you could share your Nintendo Switch games with other Switch consoles, but I never imagined that you would be able to share Switch 2 games with OG Nintendo Switch consoles, as was confirmed in the Donkey Kong Bananza Direct. Called Forwards Compatibility, it's a fantastic idea, essentially flipping the script on backwards compatibility. But it makes me wonder, if my old Switch is capable of playing Switch 2 games, why doesn't Nintendo just release a version of Donkey Kong Bananza for the Switch? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me know what you think in the comments or tag me at Naomi Kyle with your thoughts.
Quest complete.
So that's the news for this week. It's now time to chat with our guest. Lucy James returns to chat about Bungie's delay of their upcoming shooter game Marathon and her thoughts on the Switch 2, including what she expects from PlayStation and Xbox when it comes to their handhelds.
Select game mode. Multiplayer.
Hey Lucy, welcome back to the show. It's so good to have you.
Naomi, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back.
Yeah, we were at SGF hanging out. That was a really fun time. Quickly, do you have any favorite SGF memories or things you want to share about your time?
Oh, I mean, just even being up there was an incredible thing that I will be thinking about. You know, that's the high I'm going to be riding for a very long time.
Nice.
But just being able to introduce games to the world like Infinitesimals and Out of Words, and I don't know, just seeing the reaction kind of feeding off the excitement in the room. But then in terms of the stuff I got to play, I did get to play Resident Evil 9. So that was definitely a highlight for me.
I missed that one. Ooh, okay. So maybe we'll talk about that one a little bit at the end because I want to know your thoughts. So for those who don't know, Lucy was co-hosting the SGF presentation this year. That must have been so wild and fun. And you did an amazing job. It was so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, incredible opportunity. I was very, very pleased with it.
Yes. Everyone go back and watch that if you haven't seen it yet. So in the news this week, we've got Bungie. Unfortunately, a delayed game. They're happening less frequently, but I feel like it's smart and people are more accepting of it. But yeah, Marathon is going to be delayed. We have no new date, but they said it was supposed to come out September. And now we don't know what the future holds. What do you think this says about Marathon in your mind?
Oof. It's a very complicated one. So if you look even within the broader discussion of Sony and their way that they went all in on having these games as a service titles. I think they revealed 12 or something a couple of years ago. Since then, a number of those have been cancelled. We've had very, very, kind of ones that weren't even revealed, but they kind of got chopped. And then you have the really big heavy hitter failures of Concord. Bungie obviously having such success with Destiny 1 and 2, obviously back in the Halo days. It feels like it's kind of too big to fail, and Sony definitely doesn't want to have another Concord on its hands. Kind of did see it coming a little bit. So I actually went to Bungie a few months ago to play Marathon, and I was like, I really enjoyed my time with it. The moment-to-moment gameplay was very fun. However, the fact that the narrative wasn't quite there yet, there was no real reason why I was doing any of it, was really sort of strange. And the onboarding wasn't good. And that all kind of ticked over to when they had the public alpha. And yeah, it just needs more time in the oven for sure.
Okay, so this sounds like a smart move, and I feel like most times when they say something is delayed, it's usually for good reason. No one wants to delay their game, of course, but yeah, so it's interesting to see that you actually had some hands-on time to really see that this is worthy of a delay. Well, I'm hopeful. I don't want Concord to be another Concord to happen at any point. And I'm a big fan of Bungie, and I think that we want to see it win. It is a shooter. So my other question to you is: has it become a somewhat taboo? Like, is it a genre that's dying? I guess is my question.
I don't think it's a genre that's dying. I think everyone is just so used to the shooters that they already know and love, and crucially the ones that are free. Right. So a real issue that a lot of games are having at this point, we're reaching this point where game budgets mean that games are way more expensive. They take way longer to make. You can't follow trends as easily or as quickly or be as adaptable. And then the price of games is going up. So at the same time, hey, I have Fortnite, or I'm playing Warzone, or I'm playing, like the game, like, GTA, Roblox, Minecraft, all of those games. If you look at the top 10, it rarely ever changes. It rarely ever changes because people are still so invested in these games that they have put now so many years into. So the problem isn't like our shooters a struggling genre. There are still very successful shooters that are coming out. I mean, like Call of Duty breaks records again every year when it comes out.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. Like it's, but at the same time, the question is, what game are you pulling people away from when you release your new game? And when it comes to a shooter, your market is just that much more saturated.
Yeah. And you really have to make it a convincing switch over, right? Because why would you leave a game that's so good already?
But I mean, look at when Destiny first came out and Destiny 2 first came out, those games were not good on release.
That's true.
But the market was so different that Bungie had the time to fix them with post-launch content. Now, if you do not grab and maintain people's attention from the very, very beginning, you are kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So that's what they don't want to happen.
That makes sense. All right. Well, we'll take a quick break for the games out this week, and we'll be right back with Lucy.
Games out this week.
Starting on June 24th, Shuffle Tactics strategizes exclusively on PC. Then on June 25th, Heroes of Mount Dragon teams up on PC. And on June 26th, we get Ruffy and the Riverside, making the swap over to all platforms. System Shock 2 Remastered hacks its way onto the PS5, PS4, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. Persona 5 The Phantom X taps into PC and mobile devices. Front Mission 3 Remake finds a new home on the Nintendo Switch. And Death Stranding 2 on the Beach delivers exclusively on PS5. On June 27th, Horizon Journey terraforms the planet Mars exclusively on PC. And Tamagotchi Plaza goes on a shopping spree on the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. The Epic Game Store is offering just one free game this week, Sable, which will be available for download from June 26th until July 3rd.
Quest accepted.
All right, we're back. So have you had a chance, we're switching gears a little bit. Delays suck, but I want to get into some good positive news. Assuming you have a Switch 2, right?
Got it right here.
Heck yeah. Yes. So have you had a lot of time to play on it? What's been your overall take on the Switch 2? I want to know your opinion.
I mean, I think it's a really nice piece of hardware. I haven't actually spent that much time on it. I think my biggest, the most time I probably spent with it has been Mario Kart, obviously. I took it over to my friend's house and we immediately had 4-player local co-op going. And the other thing was just, I was kind of amazed at how quick and easy the setup process was. I was like, oh, damn, Nintendo's figured out something to do with the setup. Like, it was just super easy to get my account and all my games on there. I'm disappointed with the launch lineup. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I think Mario Kart is great. I still kind of prefer Mario Kart 8. But at the same time, that real lack of first-party support means that I'm still not reaching for it because I want to be playing Metroid. I want to be playing Donkey Kong. The only other game at launch that really is interesting to me is Yakuza 0, which is a game I've already played and love. But it's like, am I going to drop 60? My Switch account is in British, so like, am I going to drop 60 pounds or 50 pounds to buy Yakuza 0 just for like 20 minutes of extra cutscenes and from all accounts a half-baked multiplayer mode? No, but I might do it just so I can have the Cabaret Club minigame on the
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's great. I just need more games on it. Well, how are you finding yours?
That's you literally said two of the biggest critiques that I put in my review. Actually, I said, I wish there was more launch titles, and that I was very surprised about the setup, that it was so easy to just literally transfer, like more easy than an iOS, like transferring a new cell phone. So I thought that was really great. But yeah, I'm just holding out for Donkey Kong Bananza. Like, I'm hoping that's going to grab me. It's not too far away at this point, maybe 3 weeks. And yeah, I'm still waiting for that game that's just going to like have me on it constantly. That said, I do like the online features. I feel like when I was setting up the game chat, that was like, this is so much easier. I'm able to talk to my friends right away. I could see them on camera. There's a part of that makes me want to play the Switch more with people, whereas before it was more of a single player experience. So yeah, so I think that's where I'm at with that. Was there any features that you were surprised about? I guess the setup was what you mentioned, but was there anything else?
I mean, I did try and use it as a mouse. Obviously, you don't really need it. I mean, it's kind of impossible to do for something like Mario Kart, but I'm really interested to see how many third-party developers make more use of that, and we get to see more PC ports. I would love to play.
Maybe with Cyberpunk, do you think? I haven't tried it yet.
I haven't tried it. But yeah, I think that's cool. I think it feels weird to be so stoked about a kickstand. However,
I was stoked about that too, because it's actually made of like metal, right? It's not plastic.
Yeah, it actually feels really good. And some people apparently use it to sort of balance their hands on, so sort of like a little ergonomic-y type thing.
Yeah.
But also, the viewing angle, if you have the kickstand up, is you can have a way bigger like viewing angle. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff in there. I think obviously the launch lineup, my biggest thing is that, yes, this is a Switch 2. I would have loved it if Nintendo had been, hey, we're going to do something weird, and what's the gimmick? What's the gimmick?
Yeah.
But no, as a console, it's very nice.
Yeah, I like it. It feels more, my other feedback was it feels more adult, like it's less toy-like in how it looks and how it feels. Okay, I guess this leads me to my other thing about handhelds, because handhelds are kind of becoming the big thing this year. Sony and Xbox have theirs. Xbox did showcase their handheld at Summer Games Fest or at their presentation. What are you expecting from this handheld battle? Like, are you expecting it to be like Sony and Xbox might come out on top over the Switch at this point?
No, I don't think so. I mean, adoption of the ROG Ally, which, it's like a million or so, I think I read somewhere, and the Steam Deck has obviously done very well. There are, who is it? Like Logitech has one. Everyone kind of is dabbling in that space. I think crucially it is just giving players more places to play. Hardware is, not the biggest earner. There's always the stories about sometimes Xboxes are sold at a loss, hardware is sold at a loss, blah, blah, blah. The real money comes from subscriptions. And so Xbox really has a great, Game Pass pulls in so much money, and the fact that you can do cloud streaming through xCloud on it too. PlayStation also, is in that same place, but I feel like it doesn't have as much of the market kind of mind share. You think, oh, what's the best subscription service? You don't really think of PlayStation Plus, even though it is great.
Yeah.
You think, oh, well, there's so many free games on Game Pass. They've done a very good job at marketing it. So in terms of who's going to come out on top, I honestly don't think, I think, the Switch just broke records for selling. Yeah. So I think it's still going to be them. Nintendo has such a chokehold on the market because crucially it keeps its first party games on its own platform, whereas Sony and Microsoft are obviously dabbling more with PC and in Xbox's case, putting it on PlayStation. I think I honestly, as someone who really enjoys playing handheld, I'm just really stoked to be able to do more of that. The PlayStation Portal had a lot of issues, especially at launch. You couldn't even play it in a hotel because it wouldn't connect to hotel Wi-Fi. Or, I love my ROG Ally, I love my Steam Deck, but I would love it to be more powerful, love it to have more memory, love it to be more ergonomically designed. That's my main gripe with both of them. So I'm just excited to see where the technology goes and, see what games I'll be playing.
Yeah, I know some folks who got the handheld, got to try the Ally, the Xbox Ally. And they say it feels really nice. And it's almost like an upgraded version of the ROG one. I think when people ask me, which handheld should I get? I say, if you really like Nintendo, get a Switch.
Yeah.
But then also, if you're a big fan of the other games, get the Xbox Ally. At least because right now it looks like it's gonna be able to play PlayStation games, Xbox games, PC games, the whole shebang. So to me, it's more bang for your buck, right? And I just wonder what the PlayStation Sony handheld's gonna do different, or how it's gonna really try to break through the noise of that. Because if you want to be able to play all the things, you're good with the Xbox and Nintendo handheld, or even just the Steam Deck if you just play Steam PC games.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm worried about Sony when it comes to the handheld, again, which is really sad because they've tried so many times to get a handheld to work.
I know. Vita means life.
The Vita, yeah. Never forget. Really quick, I want to talk about what you've been up to. Is there anything you're looking forward to playing this summer or doing this summer?
Oh, so many cool, exciting games coming out. So Death Stranding on the beach is this week. I've been really enjoying that. Very meditative. I think it's just a very nice game to kind of switch off to, and you get the real dopamine rush of being able to deliver your packages very, very safely. I really want to shout out one of my most anticipated games of the year is Consume Me. Okay. So it's a game It's kind of been in Day of the Devs and on itch for a long time, and it won the Seamus McNally Grand Prize at GDC this year. And it is the demo is out right now. It's on Steam Next Fest, and it's basically about you're a teenage girl and you are trying to, I guess, trigger warning here if you are not comfortable with talking about disordered eating or anything, I would not maybe touch this game. Mm-hmm. However, I think it is a very interesting look at a teenage girl who is trying to lose weight, trying to get a boyfriend, trying to do her chores, trying to have it all. And it's kind of built like Persona in terms of not dungeon crawling, but like, that you have your day set up in certain ways. And it's basically all about this girl kind of getting a lot of pressure externally, but also internally. And I don't know, it resonated a lot with me when I was a teenage girl and even now. And I think it's done in a really darkly funny way. And I really recommend people check it out. So that's consuming.
I love that. That's such a cool shout out. I hadn't heard about it. So I'm going to put it on my list too, because it sounds up my alley too. And I'm sure for people listening who have kids or, who have teenagers, it could be something worth checking out.
Yes.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Lucy. It's always so awesome to have you on the show. I hope you'll be back and enjoy your time with Death Stranding.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love to be back anytime. I'm always here. And thank you again for having me.
Lucy James is a gaming video creator for outlets like GameSpot and Giant Bomb. You can follow her on Instagram at Lucy James Games.
Flawless victory! Continue!
And that's This Week in Gaming. I'm your host, Naomi Kyle, and I had the best time this week bringing you all the latest in games. Thank you so much for listening, and shout out to my co-writer, Josh Seaman, for helping put it all together every week. Don't forget to let me know what you're playing and what you think of these stories by tagging me at Naomi Kyle on social. From all of us here at This Week in Gaming, we wish you a gaming-filled week. We'll see you same time, same place. Thank you for listening.
This Week in Gaming is an iHeartRadio Canada podcast. Subscribe to this podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Download the iHeartRadio app for more podcasts just like these.